I'm Wendy McCormick with the Center for Congregations, and we are looking forward to an extended learning opportunity that the center will be offering in Southwest Indiana beginning in September of 2015 on rethinking and reimagining faith formation in a digital age. And I'm delighted today to have a conversation with our presenter for this program, John Roberto of Lifelong Faith Associates. He's designed this course and is something of a self-taught expert on this topic. So welcome, John. We're looking forward to having you back in Indiana.
Great.
And I wondered if you might just start and tell us a little bit about what the changes are in our culture and the changes in the world and the church that make this kind of reimagination necessary.
Sure. I think there's four big things that are leading us, prompting us, challenging us to rethink what we do in faith formation. And I think every congregation in the U.S. faces almost exactly the same kinds of things. Every locale is a little bit different in how they experience it, but these four big things seem to fit. So I just call them four big adaptive challenges. I think the first thing every congregation is addressing is diversity. Diversity in their people, diversity in generations. I think a second big piece is the diversity in religious practice that we're experiencing. And so how does a congregation respond to those who are actively engaged all the way through those who are unaffiliated? So I think that's a big challenge, so the diversity there. I think another one of the big challenges that people face is the steady decline in religious transmission at home. Parents and grandparents sharing faith at home with the next generation, the number of those doing that has declined, and our churches rely on religious transmission at home. All of that has changed. And so as I work with churches, they're all trying to adapt to, well, what does this mean? And how do we think about church? How do we think about faith formation? And what will the future look like? So I always name these big adaptive challenges as things that churches have to grapple with and rethink. And part of the course will be, how do we take that research and that analysis and move that into practical strategies for how to reimagine faith formation?
Right, right. And I know one of the things you're going to do in the course is unpack those four things and help people really think about how those things that touch all congregations specifically impact their own congregation.
Yes.
And then as you unpack those things, people are going to feel overwhelmed. Congregations feel overwhelmed by the way technology has changed and the way the world has changed. Can you talk a little bit about some of the tools that you're going to be offering to help them combat this?
Sure. So I approach the digital tools, not as a digital native, not at my age, but as someone who's learned that these tools and technologies, all this new digital media, the abundance of resources, all of this is available to us as an enabler to make intergenerational faith, family faith, age group faith formation work. So I tell groups all the time, you now have the ability to reach everybody 24/7.
It's really exciting when you talk about being able to take the tools of the faith, the resources of the faith, to people on the soccer field, to people, in the car line with their phone. And you also say that you're not a digital native. So you promise to be able to empower people who are not digital natives to do this?
Absolutely. I mean, I tell groups all the time, this is a 65-year-old who's talking about 21st century approaches to faith formation and using digital tools. So anybody can do it, in that sense. And I think what's happened is 10 or 15 years ago, the bar to learn these things was pretty high. But now the bar has come down. So these are much more accessible. You can build a website.
So I heard two things there that I think are great points to emphasize for people that are considering coming to this. One is that you talk about these digital tools as being an extension of the congregation. So not an alternative to what we do in person, but an extension. That one of the things that you're going to talk about is how to take what's already going on within the bricks and mortar of the congregation and extend it digitally. Yes. And then I also heard you talk in that about, so one is expanding what I experience when I go to the physical congregation, but the other is reaching people who aren't there. You talked about, reminded me of a congregation that called me. We only have grandparents. We don't have any children to form. How could this class be for us? you talked about, well, those grandparents could begin to, through their social network, extend to their grandchildren and other grandchildren, even though they're not physically at the church building. And the lucky congregations in Southwest Indiana who sign up for this extended learning opportunity, registration's open now. The course begins in September. And those congregations will have the opportunity to hear in greater detail from you about all these different pieces of this, the adaptive challenges, how to use the digital tools relationally. I love that. How to use them relationally to extend the relationships that are what faith is about. And added bonus, in between the 3 one-day workshops of the course, which will be in September, November, and March, there's going to be an opportunity for some coaching with this guru who is helping us figure it out.
Just a guide. We're going to wrap our arms around people to help them succeed. And so everyone's going to be building a website, faith formation website, drawing on the assets of their congregation. They're going to focus it. They're going to do it. And it's not about how much people do. It's the fact that people start.
Right.
And so it's a year of experimenting and trying and learning.
Fantastic. Fantastic. John, we're looking forward to welcoming you to Indiana in the fall with a good group of congregations that are ready to have your guidance and begin some experimentation out of your great wisdom and experience. Thank you very much.
Wendy, you're welcome. Looking forward to it.